Welcome to Positively Spiritual. My name is Shannon Gilmore. Oh, you can see the reflection on my eyes, my glasses. That's okay. That's okay. At least you can see one eye, right? You can see my eyes. All right, how you guys doing? Nice to see you. Welcome. Yeah, if I sit sideways, that's better like that. Maybe if I just turn the camera a little. Okay, I should have planned this out better. I'm just being picky, perfectionist. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Hello, Mr. Osgood. Hello, Robert. Nice to see you. Gentlemen, how is everyone doing today? Welcome to the program. Welcome to this video. We are going to talk about self-empowerment. Hello, James. Nice to see you. Welcome. Just waiting for everybody to come in. I was just making sure that I had the right thing. Hello, Meredith. How you doing? I am blessed to have a study period during this time. Awesome. How's your day going? Full of blessings. Yeah, that's awesome. And it was good to talk to you. It was really good to see you. You're just radiant. You're shining. So well done. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. All right. So how is everyone doing? All right. So, well, we've got 6 people in the house. We got three likes. So if you guys like this channel or this video, please, may I remind you to like this video if and when you decide that you do like it. We haven't even gotten started yet. But that's how good it is. You're going to like it before it even gets started. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, everyone. Nice to see you, everyone. All right. So you want to talk about empowerment today because I've got some truths because we're ripping off the Band-Aid of this, like I said, I think we're going through another transition where the closer we get to Christ, the more the truth comes out. And so we're ripping the Band-Aid off of the psychological healing that just keeps us, bound to our egos. As we're catering to our egos, we think we're being set free, but we're not, because unconditional love has no ego. So what I woke up this morning with is you wake up every morning like a childlike heart where there's no judgment on this day. You just wake up and you just go do what you need to do, and you have no judgment on it, because it's the judgment that comes back on you, and that judgment that you put out there, it comes back on you, and that's what is stopping us from living. So we're going to talk about self-empowerment today. Oh, let me turn up the volume so you guys can hear me better. There we go. So the truth about empowerment that no one's going to tell you, but we're going to learn here on this channel. And these are only 3 things. There's more, and we'll talk more about it. But right now, we're just going to, soften the blow, ease ourselves into this, because this might hurt our egos a little bit. So the first taste of empowerment that we go through, that we encounter, it's not soft, it's not calm, it's not enlightened. It feels actually violent. And what that means is it feels like you've been betraying the version of yourself that kept you small and quiet. So that's partly why many people don't engage in personal empowerment, because we identify with the ego, and God says that we've got to lay that down. To become born-again Christians is to live the new character, a new character in Christ. What is that new character? 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4-5. That's unconditional love. So personal empowerment means abandoning the part of you that begged for permission before making a move. That version of you, the people pleaser, the overthinker, the analytical one. Yeah. The one who asked for signs and waited for someone to tell them that it was safe. This is the first casualty. This makes sense, because oftentimes we ask, God, give me a sign. We're not trusting God. See, that's the thing. Ego doesn't trust. You can have ego or you can have faith. And I was thinking about that as I was making some flatbread this morning about faith. And oh my gosh, I'm not putting my faith in God because I'm so rooted in my ego. My ego has to have the sign. My ego has to know. My ego has to be the omniscient one, or the omniscient, the all-knowing. I just need to know. And God's our creator. He knows the beginning and the end. So all we need to do is just trust him. But trust is hard because the ego cannot trust God. So if you can't trust God, that's the right there. That's letting you know that, okay, I'm in my ego. If I'm not trusting God, I'm in my ego. So most people never step into empowerment because they cannot stomach the guilt that comes first. And the agitation of just going rogue, going against your ego and doing something that you've never done before, that just puts all your faith and all your trust in God. And come what may, if I fall flat, I fall flat. It's okay. I'll live. I'll survive. But your ego is like, oh, no, 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 no. I can't do that. I know, right, Meredith? The guilt brought me down. Yeah, me too. The guilt and the shame is debilitating. But once we get over it and we start recognizing that, hey, we're above all that, we're the head, not the tail. God didn't create us to live like, grassroots civilian on earth. We are, divine. Our heritage, our home, our inheritance is in the realm of incomprehensible, limitless possibilities. So where we're concerned, anything is possible. Yeah, our egos might say, well, that will fall. Yeah, it will fail and that will fall if I stay rooted in you. But if I go to God and root myself into anything is possible, like anything, good or bad, yeah, it's possible. It might fail because that's a possibility, but there's also a possibility that it could go right. And I'm going to take my chances, not put, all my money on lucky number 7. I'm going to be like, lucky number 7, lucky number 7, lucky number 7, triple sevens. I'm going to go full tilt on this thing. And if I fail, well, I know God's going to pick me up because I was meant to fall down. It wasn't meant to be then. And I'll just try something else. But our ego says, no, you got to get it right on the first try. It's got to be this. It's got to be this way. This is the right way. So most of us never take the step into empowerment and let go because the guilt, the shame, the hurt. We think that we have to wrestle with our guilt and shame for years and years and years before we can finally let it go. But did the woman at the well, did she feel shame? Did Jesus shame her? Did she feel guilty? Did he make her feel guilty? No, her actions her actions condemned her as guilty, but Jesus told her, just go sin. Don't sin no more. Just don't sin. Go back to your first husband. There you go. Done deal. It's over. We don't need to talk about it. Just don't do it again. But see, when we're, like, I know in my youth, when I was in trouble, when I did those things that got me into trouble, my parents wouldn't be like, oh, okay, it's okay, just don't do it again. It was like, no, you're grounded. And that grounding was to make me feel it. And I felt punished. I felt guilt. I felt shame for days after. And there was no, we love you, kiddo, or, no, you're trying your best. But no, it was, they knew I came from a troubled household, but they just expected me to toe the line. They expected me to fall in line with how things were run in their household, without rebellion, without trying to feel my own identity. No, you're in our house now, you live by our rules. And if you don't, this is how it is. So people think that they want empowerment, but do they really? Because it's going to cost. I mean, we want control over our circumstances, but we don't want responsibility that comes with it, because we don't know what that responsibility looks like. It means to always having to do this and not that. And our brains, our bodies like to gravitate to what is familiar. So here's the ugly truth that no one wants to say out loud. Most people are terrified of true freedom, because true freedom is accountability in its rawest form. I mean, when you look in the Bible, that's why there was crowds around people that John the Baptist was baptizing. Because those witnesses to their baptism were friends, family, neighbors, people that they probably saw daily. And so those people who witnessed the baptism, if they saw the person who was recently baptized, if this witness saw this person sin, they could say, you were baptized last week. Do you remember that you made a promise to God to change your ways, and you're falling back into old patterns, my friend? That's what an accountability partner means. An accountability partner, as you know, modern church circles teach, all it is just being a witness to your promise of dedication, and a witness to keep you in alignment to the truth. We don't have witnesses and accountability partners anymore. This world is a free-for-all. You know, as long as it's not in my backyard, you can do whatever you want. Well, you're coming into my backyard when you're my friend, and you come into my house and you dine with me. There's no gossiping, there's no swearing, there's no smack talk, there's no disrespecting people behind their back, there's no convoluting and talking sex talk and making it, you know, there's just wholesome talk in my house. That's being, you know, taking accountability and responsibility for your neighbor, as we are our brother and sister's keeper, as I expect that to be done for me. I'm not going to go into somebody's house and start, you know, woohoo, and whooping it up, and where's drinks, where's the... That's not my lifestyle, because I don't hang around people like that. So if I'm not going to do it in your house, I expect you not to do it in my house. And that's our brother and sister's keeper. That's the way it should be. But nowadays it's like, don't have a filter on your mouth. Oh boy. And you're talking like that in front of my kids. Kids, go play. But we don't say anything to our house guests. Oh no, we just tell our kids to go away, go play. Hi Sam, how you doing? If we want to have fresh food, we have to plant it. How much responsibility is that? Exactly, Meredith. For example, if I leave the public school, I lose all my money, and I'm afraid of not getting the benefits from the government. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, responsibility is tough, and it's hard to follow sometimes. Exactly. And that's why we need help. That's why we have scripture. That's why we have our brothers and sisters in the Lord. But sadly, most of us are peppered throughout this world, so we're not in close proximity, right? So when you lay down your head on your pillow at night, you know, you've got to do a self-check. It's important to self-check. Was I at my best today? Could I have done better? Yes, of course I could have done better. God, please help me to do better. It's not good to ruminate on the negatives just before you go to bed, but it's good to ruminate and just do a self-check and think of good things for yourself for tomorrow as you fall asleep. So true freedom is accountability in its rawest form. It means that when you waste a day, you can't blame your partner, your boss, your parents, the system, or your past. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I threw it away. That's why people keep themselves chained. The cage feels safer because the bars give you someone else to blame. And here's the kick in the pants. Most of what we call healing is actually procrastination dressed up in spiritual clothing. I know myself. I love psychology. Like, I love learning about human nature. I love learning the modalities, but I admit that I was getting addicted to this and this over here. Oh, this, I barely begun one and I'm off on another one, trying something else, trying this, trying that. Oh my gosh. And I felt my ego convinced me that I was progressing. I was making progress because I was accumulating all this knowledge and trying little bits here and there. And so I was, no, 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 no. God calls us to come up out of it eventually. And we need the truth. And I think right now we are mature enough to handle the truth. And I'm going to tell you that therapy is beautiful. Therapy can be wonderful. You know, whether it's with a coach, a therapist, or a mentor like me, it doesn't matter. We all need somebody to talk to. But see, what I'm noticing is that true help, true therapy is that, you know, whoever you turn to has a responsibility to hold you accountable to the things that you say, and holds you accountable for things that maybe you can't see you're doing wrong, but sitting on the outside of your life, you know, the person can get a better angle. And you know, it's not that we're judging anybody. It's just that, you know, it's just easier to see from a different perspective when you're too close looking at, like, there's this, what is this, the Chinese a Chinese, like an Aesop fairy tale or whatever that is, where there's the moral of the story. Well, there's a Chinese whatever saying is that there was like 5 people who were standing near an elephant, and they were all blindfolded, and these 5 people each were standing at different spots of the elephant. So the one person was touching the ear of the elephant, and he's like, oh, this is a soft foundation, like this is soft and thin. And then the other person was touching the foot, and oh, this is like round and spongy. And the other person was touching the tail, the other person was touching the side of the elephant, and the other person was touching the trunk. So each person, even though they were touching the same animal, they had a different perspective of the animal from where they were standing. And that's with us too. We have a different perspective from our angle of our abuse and trauma. So if you are talking about psychology, then I think I can help you, because right now I am writing a paper on biopsychology. Awesome. That's awesome. You're my therapist, Shannon. Oh, thank you, Resistor. And Meredith says, mine too. Thank you. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, guys. Yeah, no, this is, you know, like, we do take a look at the psychology on this channel. We take a look at the quantum science. We take a look at human nature. But first and foremost, we're bridging the gap of all of that by ultimately what our goal here on this channel is to, you know, get in touch with our divine nature, our spiritual nature that is rooted in Jesus Christ. So, you know, therapy, like I've always said, therapy and psychology can help for a while, and then you plateau, just like with exercising. You got to mix it up. You know, you can't do the same exercise for the rest of your life, because you'll just plateau. Your muscles won't grow because they'll just get acclimatized, and it gets in that familiar pattern, right? So does our psyche. We get in this familiar pattern and we just get stuck. So we got to change it up a little bit. So that's what we do here on this channel. So everybody, welcome, welcome. So therapy can be beautiful, but a lot of people go to therapy not to heal, okay? But they go to feel productive about staying stuck, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know we're stuck. So we're looking to somebody else to unstuck us. And especially if we're talking to a therapist, a psychologist who is a narcissist or doesn't have any experience in dealing with the trauma, or is not a Christian themselves, that can make it seem worse. And that gets us stuck in a rut. So, and I've had the opportunity of talking to people who really don't want help. That's just a fact there. And I'm not saying anything about you guys. That's not you at all. But some people do want just to stay stuck. And maybe you've met those people where they trauma dump on you and they say the same things day after day. And they, you offer them some help, some advice, but they don't take it. And they just come back with the same thing. Did you try this? Nah, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, what about this? Nah, there's always an excuse, right? So there's always an excuse as they talk about their wounds for years. They analyze them, they draw maps of their pain, but secretly they're using that time to avoid the one brutal decision that would actually transform their life. Maybe quitting the job, maybe leaving the relationship, maybe cutting off the person who is poisoning their spirit. But we talked about this yesterday. We stay stuck in relationships because we need the relationship too, just as much as the narcissist needs us. We need the narcissist too for different reasons. And I know when, like I said, after I found out he was cheating, I stayed stuck. I convinced myself I forgive him in the Lord. I convinced myself that that was the right thing to do, but really, looking back, it was because I had nowhere to go. Like literally, I was out in the boondocks, out in a different province. I ran away from home when I was 17. So like from my foster home. So getting in touch with my birth family, no go. Foster home, no go. So I was on my own, and I was on my own since I was 17. So here I am in my late 40s trying to figure out what the heck is going on with my life. Homeschooling our daughter, no family, no friends, isolated on a farm. So yeah, I can admit I stayed for the wrong reasons. Well, no, I stayed for the right reasons at the time because I used him just as much as he used me. I used him to stay because he supported the family. And I got to live a cushy life. Mind you, I suffered. I was financially destitute. He left us that way. But I was able to stay at home, homeschool our daughter, and learn about God. So, I mean, that was amazing. And I got 2 weeks out of, 2 weeks, he was gone. I got to live my own life. Like I got to just be free from the snoring, free from the hogging the covers and no, but I was like relatively independent, and it was good. Like it had a lot of good things about it, but I recognized that I stayed because I had nowhere to go. And if I would have taken the leap of faith in God and just said, God, lead me where you want me to go, I don't know. But I made this choice, and like we said yesterday, God always, we're preordained, and God has mapped out our choices. Okay, Shannon will do this, and if she makes this choice, she'll make this choice, she'll make that choice, then she'll go here, she'll go here. But ultimately, every decision you make, whether it's good or bad, because you're preordained, you're ultimately living the life that God wants you to live. You're going to get to the end result sooner or later. You absolutely will. But I know with me, I stayed healing because healing feels like work, feels like you're putting in the time. And then there's this this sunk cost fallacy, where it's a psychological term where you invest your time, you invest your money, you invest your worth into an object or into somebody or something. And when it comes time to let it go, you can't let it go because of the effort and so much money or effort and emotional investment that you put in. And so this object or this item or whatever has more meaning to you than how it is perceived in the world. For example, people who like collecting antiques, They can buy something for $500, and because they love it and because they, spent money, their hard-earned money on it, they think it's worth more value. So they turn around and try to sell it at an auction for double, for $1,000. And people are like, no, it's only worth 200. And you're like, what? I paid 500. Well, you got scammed, because it's not worth that. I'll give you 200. So the person is less likely to sell that item, and they're going to wait and hang on to that item forever until they get what they want out of it. So that's kind of us in relationships too. So empowerment isn't pretty. Empowerment isn't gentle. Empowerment is a hit to the jaw of your own excuses. It's walking into the room where your oldest fear lives and daring it to throw the first punch. And standing up to it. And not fighting back, but just looking at it and seeing it for what it is. And staying still instead of staying small. That's why this first hack is simple, but almost no one does it. Pick a fight with your oldest fear. I mean, literally sit down, write out the thing that you have been avoiding for years, the conversation, the decision, the risk, and take one irreversible step towards that today. Burn the bridge, send the mail, submit the application, say yes, say no. Whatever it is that you need to be doing for yourself and you're not doing it, figure it out what it is and then do it. Or don't do it. Stop doing it. Because power grows in the moments you cross lines that scare you. What are you scared of? Stop healing. Because you're already healed. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the choices that you're making in your life that are causing problems. If you choose joy over fear, guess what? When you're joyful, you're not fearful. So there you go, problem solved. It's easy as that. With Jesus, it's not complicated. And when you read the Bible like that, Jesus says, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Anything, any excuse is of the evil one. So that's the thing. It's living for God is practical. Choose this, not that. And I should be choosing this. Well, why aren't you? I don't know. Yes, you do know. Don't tell yourself you don't know, because you always know. You may not realize that you don't or do know, but you do know. You just have to figure that out. No compromises with no more allowing yourself to get away with stuff. We say that the narcissist, hijacked and weaponized our empathy. Well, we're weaponizing our empathy every time we give ourselves excuses. We want to give ourselves permission to do whatever the heck we want. We don't have that. The Bible says everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So you can do whatever the heck you want, but you're not going to reap the benefits of doing whatever you want, because in this life, there's only two things to do. You can do things that create chaos in your life, or do things that create peace. So if you're going to do things that you want to do and you think that they're going to create peace, but instead you have to reap the consequences, that should tell you, oh, I made a decision that was rooted in chaos. Oops. But we keep doing these things over and over again. Hi, Mimi. I'm scared of you. Oh. Okay, go have fun teaching. Bye, Meredith. Thanks for coming in. See you later. Reading the Bible gives you peace. Yes. Robert says you have to learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Mimi, I'm not saying anything to you that I'm not saying to myself. Seriously, I need this wake-up call just as much as all of us do. Like, this is, I'm enjoying this. Like, I'm loving this because I love to teach, and I feel like I'm teaching me, like teaching the mini me inside me that's just like, it's time to grow up, girl. Like, it's time to grow up, act your age, not your shoe size. And then there's my ego going, sticking her tongue out at me. And it's like, you know what? You can do that all day long. You're going to sit here and listen because you have no choice. So here's the second hack to this. Start saying, I chose this about everything that hurt you. Okay, so that's not taking the blame for what people did to you, okay? You don't have to believe it, but we are responsible for the choices that we have made. You as an adult, when you became independent of your family, you as an adult are now responsible for your choices. Because once the trauma was over, that became your responsibility to either heal from it, let it go, or keep fueling it. And when we come out of trauma, trauma forces us to disengage from the childlike mind, as trauma forces us into judgment. And so that's what we got to get out of. We're choosing to judge. We're choosing to hate. We're choosing to cry. We're choosing to feel sorrow. We're choosing to grieve. We're choosing to feel sad. We're choosing to feel hollow. We're choosing to feel neglected. And all these all these choices, we are actually choosing the person who hurt us. We're choosing the trauma over the peace within ourselves that we were before trauma even hit. Peace hasn't left us. We just have to choose peace. And nobody told us this. See, we're taught that trauma needs working out with, needs this modality, needs that, it needs years of insight, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, all that's good, because all that leads to self-awareness. And self-awareness is what's going to get you to rise above all of this. So, bye, Sam. See you. Thanks for coming in. So start owning your pain as if you handpicked it out of a lineup and said, yes, that's the one. Because today is the day that God has given you. Okay, let's not talk. Okay, living in the past is not getting us anywhere. But we bring our past into our moments of now. And so when we choose sadness as our baseline, we're choosing that because we don't recognize that we have another choice. It's just so familiar that we're blinded to it. So work this out and start asking yourself in this moment of now, am I really happy? What can I do? Or how can I just make the choice to feel happy? If I'm feeling glum or bored or sad, smile and start thinking of happy thoughts. That's how you choose something different for yourself. Start owning your pain as if you picked it out of a lineup and said, yes, that's the one I choose. Why? Because the moment you do this, you stop being the victim of your story and start being the architect. If you choose it, you can unchoose it. That's the point. You're not, people say, oh, I don't have a choice. Yeah, because you make a choice within that, I don't have a choice, so I had to choose this. Do you hear the oxymoron? Do you hear the conundrum? It doesn't make sense. If you don't have a choice, you're stagnant. But when you make a choice, because I didn't have a choice, I had to decide. I didn't have a choice. They left me with no choice. I had to do this. Well, that was a choice that you made. It's weird that your own mind can play mind games with you. Exactly. I mean, I'm seeing so much gaslighting with my ego right now. It's amazing. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's like a puzzle, and reverse engineering that puzzle to uncover what's underneath. Or maybe it's more like having this antique painting and somebody painted over the original painting, so you're restoring the original painting. That's what it feels like. That's a better analogy. Restoring the original painting by looking at your ego. So, hello Sherry, nice to see you. Welcome. Hi. So if you choose it, you can rewrite the next page. This isn't about spiritual bypassing. This is just what Jesus says. Let your yes be yes, your no, no. Once you make a decision, stick with it. Don't, oh, did I make the right one? Did I do this? No, you make a decision, stick with it. I'm making an executive decision is final. I'm doing it regardless if it looks bad now, regardless if it's a bad decision. Like, you're allowed to make it, change your mind if you realize, oh, this was a bad decision. But the fact is, when you don't know and you're humming and hawing and your ego gets in the way to say, are you sure? And you're like, I don't know. Did I make the right? No, just follow through. Follow through with yourself, because this is how you establish self-trust. It's not about blaming yourself for any abuse that you took on either. This is just about reclaiming your autonomy, owning yourself, owning you, taking back ownership of your soul. So when you say, I choose this, or I chose this, your brain starts asking different questions. Why did I choose that? Why am I still choosing to feel sad? Why am I still choosing to blame my brother? Why am I still choosing to blame the government? Why am I still choosing to blame? It's been 5 years. Why am I still choosing to feel sad? Why am I still choosing to think that the narcissist still loves me? Why am I still choosing to blame them? And instead, ask yourself, why did I choose it? And what did I learn from it? What will I never allow again? Well, I chose to stay in the relationship when my narcissistic husband cheated on me because at the time I told myself I loved him and I forgave him in the Lord because it was the right thing to do. But really, that was just a band-aid. It was an excuse. And the truth of the matter was, I stayed because I had nowhere to go. So I used him just as much as he used me. So what did I learn from it? Never be financially dependent on or emotionally dependent on someone else again. Be financially, emotionally dependent on Jesus Christ. Amen. And I will never allow myself to become dependent on someone like that again, ever. And suddenly, this pain dissipates, and it's a tool. It's not a prison. I can say what I said without shame, without guilt. But 2 years ago, if I would have said this, I would have been offended. I would never have been able to admit this. It would have hurt me like crazy. But now, because we're more mature, we are maturing on this channel. And it stands to reason that we would mature because we're here twice a day, every day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. So the third hack is probably, well, it's a dangerous one. And that's make one secret to yourself that you'll never, ever, ever tell anyone else. You won't tell a friend, you won't tell a coach, you won't tell me, you won't tell a therapist. You'll just keep it to yourself. Maybe tell God, but you'll keep it to yourself. It's one single vow that no one can touch, no one can sabotage, no one can weigh in on. And then you keep this promise, no matter what. No matter what. Keep your word. Honor yourself. This is how you build unshakable self-trust. Every time you keep that promise, you grow more dangerous because you start respecting your own word more than anyone else's approval. When I was doing some meditation this morning, I got really quiet, and I think I had, an angel in the form of a man come in my mind. He had glasses, he had beard, he was clean cut, like clean shaven. Well, not clean shaven. He had short hair, nice trimmed beard. And all I saw was him momentarily, and I heard his voice, and he just said, "Put yourself first." And immediately when I heard that, I went, because I heard it in my ears, and then the download came. God, who is our Father, puts us first, always. That's why he gives to us when we ask. If we're not getting what we ask for, is because we're not thinking of him as how we should. That's another video, but the download was that God always gives to us. He puts us first, as that's what a parent does, puts their children first. Especially when they're little toddlers developing, you always put the needs of your child first, right? So then I had this second insight come in that was, when you put yourself first, not in a selfish way, but when you give yourself gifts, give to yourself, like when you feed yourself, clothe yourself, you shower, you're putting yourself first. When you put your needs first, when you put yourself first, you are actually living how God puts you first, because you and God are one. So when you're taking care of yourself, you're showing God that you really do you are submissive to him. You are allowing him to take care of you. You're submissive to that. You're responsive to his stewardship and to him taking care of you, because he always puts you first. So if you're taking care of yourself, then you are actually showing God that you are trusting him to take care of you, and you are allowing him to take care of you, because how you take care of you, and when you give yourself the best care possible, that's how you're seeing God take care of you, through how you take care of yourself. And I thought that was really interesting. And I'm just like, whoa, that was really neat. That was really neat. So when you make this promise to yourself and you hold on to it, and you become loyal to yourself, and you begin to put yourself first, because this promise cannot go behind anything. It's this promise to yourself is above everything. So this is what this does, is this allows your power to stop being something other people can give you and take advantage of. And it becomes something that no one knows and no one can take away. It becomes a part of you. So these are not hacks that you journal about. These are hacks that rearrange your life, because you have to do something. These are the hacks that feel like cheating, because they bypass years of tiptoeing through healing and walking on eggshells around your ego. And, it may seem too easy, but it's not. It's being practical, because with God, it's choose this or choose that. God says, stop sinning. Even in the Old Testament, in Isaiah and Jeremiah, where God is telling and asking Israel to come back to him, he's like, just turn away from your ways, turn away from your wickedness. That's it. There's no guilt. There's no shame. There's just turn away. Stop doing that and follow me. That's it. But no, that's too easy. Well, that's what the ego convinces us. The ego cannot turn to God. The ego cannot follow God. The ego is rebellious against God. So empowerment isn't supposed to feel like a warm bath. It's supposed to feel like being dropped into icy water and gasping awake. It's coming to your own empowerment this way is what I would call the psychological Wim Hof method. It's disciplining yourself every day being focused, being calculated, because this is the only way that we're going to get proof to ourselves once and for all that we are worthy of love because we love ourselves. This is what it means to dedicate ourselves to ourselves. This is self-dedication. Self-empowerment begins with self-dedication. And I don't think we've been dedicated enough to ourselves. I know I haven't. I've just been waking up and, doing things here, do this, do that, and, like just do things on a whim. And I've been conditioned to do that because of the narcissist. The narcissist doesn't like rigidity. Like they like spontaneity. They do. Sometimes that's good, but when it comes to your healing, your mind needs repetition. Your mind needs continuity and consistency to establish a routine, a new way of thinking. So you say you want power through autonomy, but do you really? Because power will strip away every excuse, every comfortable lie, every identity you built around being wronged. It will demand that you start playing the game like you can win, because you can. It will demand that you risk losing people, losing comfort, losing the soft story that you've been telling yourself about why you're still standing in the same spot year after year. So here's the question that you get to sit with today. What if the real reason you feel powerless is because you secretly like the cage? I mean, it's home. Home is where the heart is, right? Being stuck gets people to notice you. Being unstuck gains you freedom. But with freedom, where are the people at when you're flying high above them? Ooh. Job chapter 22:23. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. If you remove unrighteousness far from your tent. Exactly. Amen. Thank you, Robert. See, there's no, in the Nag Hammadi, that's a Egyptian, that's the Coptic Bible, the Egyptian version of some teachings of God, of Jesus. And in that, Jesus teaches that you need to know yourself. To know yourself is gain. When you know yourself, then you can understand yourself. And when you understand your ego, then you can make the proper choice to let it go. But many people, I know I did, I made the choice to choose Jesus without knowing myself first, or without even getting to know myself. And that's why it's been taking me 30 years, 35 years to come to this point, because I was just blind to myself, and fighting myself, why am I doing this, God? I don't want to do this. Well, Jesus taught us the spiritual underpinnings. He wants us to understand and see our egos, see the natural nature of mankind, see us for who we truly are, so that we can make the decision. I see where this anger is coming from. I see where this resentment resides. I see what this feeling is. This is sadness and melancholy. Okay, well, I then can make the choice. See, that's the thing. God does not take away our free will choice. He gives it back to us. He liberates us to it. The enemy, the ego, takes away our right to choose by just, and trauma does that. Trauma takes away our right to choose. Even though we're choosing the trauma, this is the only thing that we can choose, is what we're led to believe. But when God exposes us to this stuff and allows us to become self-aware to ourselves, we can see, I choose this, not this. Because we end up judging ourselves blindly, and we judge other people blindly. We judge people based on what we don't want to see in ourselves and what we don't like in ourselves. But when we address it and see it for what it is, that's basically what the temptation of Jesus was in the desert, when he went out there and the enemy came to him and approached him. Jesus was facing our ego. He was looking at it, and the ego's like, see all of this. And Jesus is like, what did he do? He knew himself. He never lost himself, because Jesus is the Word. So yes, that's why he taught the Word, because he is the Word. He is the intention within the Word. He is the light within the Word. He is the consciousness within the Word. He is the Word. He is everything that embodies a word, the Word. And so he responded the ego with his true self, with non-judgment, and just said, it is written. It is written. And we are to embody the Word. Either our character stays rooted in the ego, or we learn to let down the ego and adopt the Word as our character. And the Word is unconditional love. So the Word, the Bible, is our foundation. It is our emotional well-being. It is our spiritual health. It is everything. It's the Bible is our character, as Jesus will teach us how to become the character of God, as we already are. We just need to start living it, laying down the judgment. Number one, love is patient, love is kind, it is not rude, it does not boast, it keeps no record of wrongs, it does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So 1 Samuel 7:3, Samuel told Israel to put away their foreign gods and commit to the Lord and serve only him, and he will deliver them out of the hand of the Philistines. Hosea 6:1, come, let us return to the Lord, for he has torn us, but he will heal us. He has wounded us, but he will bandage us. Amen to that. See, there's no jumping through hoops. There's no saying that you have to choose, to live in sadness for 2.5 years and feel shame and guilt and torment. All of this has been done. Have God bless everything you consume. Amen to that. Bless my lemon water. Full of magnesium. So this was, I feel encouraged. Like, even though these are truths, it's like, I don't feel like we've been slapped on the wrist. I don't feel like we've been thumped on the head and bombarded and scolded. I mean, this is coming with love, and I feel loved. I feel like, whoa, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, there's nothing to figure out. It's just a choice, and we understand why the choices that we make are the choices that we make, because we are rooted in the ego. And if we understand the ego, then we can overcome the ego so that we can be masters over our ego, so our egos aren't master over us. That's it. And God is more powerful than anything. So why wouldn't we want to choose the character of God? You want to overcome your ego? You want to overcome the evil in this world? Then choose the character of God, because the character of God overcomes evil, has overcome evil. And we already have God's love in us. That's why we're able to choose. See, the unfortunate thing is the narcissist can only give lip service to God. The narcissist cannot choose God. They can choose to do good if they wanted to, but they choose to only use good to serve to serve vanity. They say money's a great tool, but a horrible master. Yeah. Lamentations of Jeremiah chapter 3:40. Let us examine and probe our ways, and let us return to the Lord. There we go. See? Thank you. Examine our ways. Examine and observe our ways. I love that. And probe our ways. There we go. So yeah, we're allowed to understand our egos. We're allowed to understand why it is, why we do what we do, so that we can better turn to, I don't want to do that. I see, like, understanding why we do something is to understand the ego's motives. And when you understand the ego's motives, you can deny the ego and say, no, I don't want to do that because that's not rooted in love. That has everything to do with selfishness and vanity and selfish gain. I don't want that. I want to do this so that it helps myself and everybody else too. I don't want to be the only one. I want to include. Love is inclusive. Vanity is not. It's exclusive. So yeah, this has been good. This has been really good today. Thank you everyone for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always. My name is Shannon Gilmore and I am a mentor. So if you guys need some help, need someone to talk to for about an hour or so, the link is in the description of the video and also in this chat room. What we will do together is have a 1-hour conversation where you share with me something that you've got going on in your life that is on your mind and you just need some clarification or some answers to, and I'll share with you some insight. I've been doing this since I was 16 years old, so I've got the experience. Not that I'm an expert at anything, but I am qualified. I'm qualified to listen. I'm qualified to hear. I'm qualified to share with you some helpful insights that maybe you can't see. I'm just here to give you a different perspective. And I'm here to be your friend. I'm not here to judge you. I am your friend. I am your sister in arms, and we're family. So, you're welcome to talk with me if you need to. And we're here twice a day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard. And, we're here twice a day. I'm here for you guys, and this is all I do. So, with that said, I do need to pay some bills, so you can either sign up and get in on a one-on-one conversation with me, download some ebooks if you want, or if that's not your fancy, please consider donating to this channel because your donations do help as well. So thank you very much. I appreciate your help, and it's a pleasure to serve you and help you and to be the sister for you that you need. So with that said, guys, thank you, Resistor, for moderating and sharing the links. And I look forward to seeing you guys tonight at 10. Until then, enjoy your day and make it a great one with the Lord. And go kick some butt with your ego. Go kick your ego's butt. No, I guess unconditionally loving means that we have to be loving to our egos too, even though our egos would and our egos do kick our butts in a heartbeat, but we're not violent like that. No, we're not violent. No, we love everyone. So I love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Okay, enjoy your day. God bless you. Bye-bye.